I was sitting on my mom's bed when I was about 12, writing in a pink journal. I thought it was a special journal because it was hardback. I must have heard or read somewhere that there's beauty in everything, or you can find the beauty in anything. And I thought, you know what? I'm gonna test that. I want to experiment with that. I want to see if that's true for me. I want to see if it's possible for me to see beauty in everything or to find beauty in anything. And so I looked across the room at my mom's bathroom door. She had a mirror attached to it. And so I was looking at the mirror, looking at the screws and the brackets that were holding the mirror to the door. And it didn't take too long for me to actually see the mirror as something beautiful. And it wasn't just the physical look of the mirror that I could see as pretty or aesthetically pleasing, but I started to think about the story behind the mirror, all of the hands that have touched the mirror, and therefore all the lives that have touched the mirror, all the lives that had to coincide in some fashion in order for that mirror to exist and in order for it to be on my mom's door in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And I remember that night so vividly, and I still to this day identify it as a extremely pivotal moment in the rest of my life, even though I was so young at the time. And that was the choice to actively seek beauty in everything, to actively seek beauty in small, mundane, everyday things. The second unconventional choice that has made my life absolutely magical is to use joy as my compass. I was halfway through architecture school. I was 2.5 years into architecture school, and I had been really, really unmotivated. I would spend long nights in the studio while all of my classmates were working hard on building their models and going to the wood shop and drafting their photos. I was sitting in front of my CD player, pressing skip to get to the songs that I really liked, and just staring at the work, just staring at the desk, staring at the scraps of cardboard paper, the scraps of wood, and just not feeling compelled to do anything, not feeling like I knew what I wanted to do. Hindsight is 2020. I didn't know then. I now know that I was actually depressed. And that Christmas break, so fall semester of my junior year in college, okay, I get home and I know that I just did not perform well in architecture school. I was like, yeah, this is going to be a stretch. It's going to be a Hail Mary if I pass. And I pulled up my grades when I got home from the semester break, got a big fat D on my transcripts. Now, mind you, architecture studio was worth 2 college classes, double the amount of impact on my transcript as a normal class. And so that's when I just woke up. I was like, I have to make a change. Something has to change. I can't go on like this, right? First of all, I wasn't happy. I was miserable. I was underperforming. I was unmotivated. And now I was also not making the grades. And so I pulled out that I pulled out the course catalog, and I was one credit closer to graduating with an English degree than I was with a sociology degree. So I decided to switch my major from architecture to English. And again, milestone moment for me, which completely, I can't emphasize this enough, changed my life in profound ways that I can't even fathom to this day. The decision to not only have the courage to leave architecture school just in that moment, but it taught me, what that decision really, really taught me is that joy can be a compass. My feelings, my emotions can be a compass for the path or the direction that I'm really meant to take. And being depressed, procrastinating, not feeling motivated, feeling quote unquote lazy, was really just my mind and my body and my spirit and my emotions trying to tell me that I was not in alignment with my greater purpose. And so from then on, I've really paid attention to where's the joy, leaning into the joy and letting that guide me and guide my decisions. So the third unconventional choice that has made my life magical is one of my favorites. And I actually have a video coming out about it next week, which is to learn about astrology and other esoteric and occult arts like tarot and numerology. So for me, the seeds of learning astrology and studying things like tarot more closely started early in life with my dreams. I really just wanted to understand my dreams. And so I was online. Fortunately, the internet had come out around the time I was in middle school. And so I could start to look up dream dictionary. Shout out to dreamdictionary.com because they are some OGs and they really got me through like those early days of really just starting to explore and follow my curiosity about my dreams and what they could mean or why I was having them. And, because I didn't see a lot of that happening around me, like no one in my family, no one in the church community I was going to back then, no one in my school, none of my classmates, none of my friends, like I really just did not know people or see people talking about astrology or chakras or clairvoyance and clairaudience. And it was online looking up symbols for my dreams where I was introduced to those terms. I was introduced to those concepts, and I kind of put them on the back burner again because it wasn't being nurtured in my external environment. So fast forward several years, I'm trying to sort out things regarding a relationship, and I stumbled upon some tarot videos on YouTube, and that really took me down the amazing journey and adventure of really studying, not just knowing about, but actually starting to learn about astrology and aspects and moon signs and all the things. So yeah, as I mentioned, the video that's coming out next week will talk about why I think astrology has made my life so magical. I'll talk about the 7 reasons astrology has been such an important part of my healing journey. So look out for that when it comes, or I'll link to it somewhere on the screen or in the description box below once it's out. Now, this 4th unconventional choice also started really probably when I was about 5 or 6, but definitely when I was in high school. We all know how school cafeteria politics can go. I don't know why school cafeterias are just like the landmines for anxious feelings and anxious thoughts. Anyway, I was hanging out with these girls because I took classes with some of them and they had friends, but I didn't really like the vibe. I was like, they're kind of like mean girls, and they were doing things that I didn't feel right to my spirit, that weren't aligned with my ethics and my values and like my identity, how I saw myself. And so I was like, I don't feel good when I'm with these people, right? And like there was some manipulation things around Christmas gift exchanges. Girl, it was a mess, okay? And they got up to leave after we had all eaten lunch, and they were going to go do some of their shenanigans. I'm up to shenanigans, just my preferred shenanigans, not theirs. And I said, you know what? I'm going to stay here. I'm going to hang back. And so I made the choice to go it alone until they match my vibe, right? And so I might have been 15 at the time, choosing to sit alone in the school cafeteria at a big, wide, long school cafeteria, choosing to sit there by myself rather than follow a crowd of people that I did not feel good with, rather than going and doing things and trying to pretend that I'm something I'm not, or that I'm someone I'm not. And so I was willing to risk the social stigma or the judgment of like, oh, no one wants to be your friend. No one wants to eat with you. No one wants to sit with you. I said, I'd rather be comfortable and alone and be who I am and alone than fake the funk with people that I don't really like and that don't really like me. But the power in that choice, the day after I made that decision, I noticed that more girls would stick back with me instead of going with the crowd. Sometimes it takes one act of courage to spread to other people. I wasn't alone much longer because so many other people like me were like, I just want to be myself and I want to be free and I want to be at peace, and we had that eventually once I stepped out on a limb and said, I'm just going to sit here. And other girls, other students I noticed would come and join me at the table because they also didn't, vibe with that crowd or other crowds or other spaces that they could have gone to be around people, just didn't feel right to them either. And so we were all just kind of loners together, being alone together. That's kind of a thing. So it definitely applies to romantic relationships as well. I understand now that I've studied astrology, I understand that there are some people who in this lifetime, they're meant to be booed up all the time, always, for the majority of their life. But based on my birth chart, I really can't be partnered with someone that's not the right vibe for me. It's almost like I have a gag reflex in terms of being in a relationship just to be in one. The Mr. Right Now or the Mrs. Right Now or the so-and-so for right now. Like the placeholders, like I just can't until it's the right vibe, okay, until they match my vibe. And again, it has made my life magical when I realize how much peace, how much joy, how much freedom I have. And again, going back to the astrology thing, peace and freedom freedom in particular are really important to me and really significant for my destiny in this lifetime. So even when I do meet a partner, they have to be someone who's free within themselves and doesn't try to control or limit my freedom, because they got their own thing going on and they are confident and comfortable and secure in who they are. And so they're not threatened by my sense of confidence and freedom. So if you're watching this, you know where to find me. But yeah, speaking of relationships, my live series this year is all about relationships. Actually, this whole year is a relationship theme for me because it's a personal year too for me. Okay, so if you know numerology, you know what that's about. Okay, but it's not just romantic relationships, it's just partnerships in general, one-to-one connections. And so stay tuned, because I'm going to do a monthly live stream instead of a weekly live stream. So I'm going to do 12 live streams in 2024, once every month, the fourth Sunday or the last Sunday of every month. Yeah, and so this last choice I think has a lot to do with some of the previous ones I just mentioned, which is the choice to prioritize courage. Talk about life-changing choices. It's so interesting making this video and like saying these things and realizing just how pivotal, just how radically different my life is or would have been based on these 5 choices that I'm naming. When I graduated with my master's and I went back to Baton Rouge to teach high school, I tried a new approach to New Year's resolutions, which was to have a word or a theme for the year. So New Year's 2011, deciding that courage would be my word or my theme for the year, worked miracles. Again, I'm telling y'all, like, I feel like these choices have worked miracles in my life. So I decided to make that my word again the next year and the next year. And so it kind of just like integrated into a core value of mine. If you go to my website, you'll see that it's like one of my number 1 values is to be courageous. And I absolutely agree with Maya Angelou, who says that courage is the most important virtue, because without courage, we can't consistently practice any of the other virtues. Okay? All right, y'all. Much love.